All right. Today I have Dani Watkins, who is a Century 21 Judge Fite agent in the Rockwall office. And Dani, how long have you been in real estate?
I'm started in 2022,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm
Somewhat new.
going into my third year.
You came out of the gate pretty strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of agents, it seems to be at like that 18-month mark. They either make it or break it, or they don't make it, or they do. Did you have a hump to get over, or did you just come out of the gate, kind of knew what to do, and started?
No, I had a little bit of a hump. I would say the first 6 months I didn't have any production, so a lot of it was just.
That's rough.
Yeah, it is rough. So it was just sowing the seeds, taking classes, continuing education, learning more about real estate, doing all the things that an agent would do if they had production, just minus the production.
How did you get the production? Did you stick to what the broker told you to do, or did you figure something else out that worked for you?
I would say both. I think, okay, so who you work with matters, your broker matters, and we have weekly coaching sessions at Century 21 Judge Fite at our office, and through the weekly coaching sessions, we were kind of taught to go out and meet people, network, that kind of stuff. So I think it was the combination of the networking and the weekly coaching, and then just my own kind of personality and my own spin on it.
Now this is actually great because a lot of times I have agents on here that have been in the business for 20 years. Because we try to interview agents that are production, like they're actually making it, they're being successful in the business. And it's pretty rare, honestly, to find someone that's 2 years in, 3 years in, that's actually producing quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so it's unique, but it'll be a more interesting conversation for me than just going, 20 years, wow, obviously you should be
have
successful.
time to build up your sphere,
Yeah.
right?
And the sphere, you always hear that, the sphere of influence. Go contact your sphere of influence, talk to the people you know, let everybody know in your world that you're an agent.
Yeah.
And then you did that, but I know you're active on social media, and then you're probably pretty active in your own group, right?
A little bit. I'm a little bit active on social media. I don't really market myself that much, but I will say the best marketing is a happy client. So a lot of my business are friends of friends, so referral business. And that's where a majority of my businesses come from.
So people telling their friends, Dani did a great job for me.
Yeah.
And then they call you and they sell their house or buy a house with you.
Yeah, I would say a good half my clients probably all know each other.
That's awesome.
So
though.
yeah, I've helped out a lot of people in my sphere, and they all know each other just through word of mouth and referrals and that kind of stuff.
The agents that don't succeed, the ones that struggle, tend to kind of miss out on exactly that, which I've noticed interviewing a bunch of real estate agents. The ones that have struggled have essentially, they think about the transaction a lot more than let's get you into the best house that works best for you, and then that just yields the results organically rather than trying to force it.
Right. I think people know when there's a shift between being a client and a paycheck. Right. So for me, it was never the money at the forefront. I've been blessed enough that was never the first thing on my mind. So I think people know when you're working with them when it's transactional versus relationship based. So for some agents, if it's their first closing, if they haven't had production in 6 months, it's very important for them to get to the closing table and maybe to make a client feel rushed and pressured and they have to make a decision and they have to settle. For me,
people can sense that.
They can.
They can read it right off your
Yes.
face. So yeah, the way they're being treated, the entire transaction.
Right. And I actually, my first purchase, my first house, that was my experience. And this was probably almost 10 years ago now, but I still reflect back on that and just how I felt rushed into making a decision, rushed on settling on a house. And it wasn't the house that I would have picked if I didn't feel like I needed to pick something because I was wasting my agent's time, if that makes sense. So now we'll go at your pace. If you want to see 100 houses, we'll see 100. If it takes a year, it takes a year. But at the end of the day, as long as you're happy, you're going to come back and hopefully use me again or refer me to someone.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, a lot of, I see that time and time again, agents that continuously struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bad. It's like the guy that hasn't gotten a girlfriend forever. He's so desperate. Like everyone can just tell, and then he's just turning everyone off because he's so desperate. It's the same.
He's coming on too strong.
Yeah, and the agents do that. Like they're starting to a little bit run out of money, and then they forget. Mm-hmm. Let's be calm. Let's just work with the client, and it'll come to you.
And in that respect, I do try to match my clients' energy. So if they say my lease is up in 45 days, I need to find a house. Then I'll be a little bit more aggressive in trying to find them a place. But I've also had clients where we're not in a rush. If we find the perfect home, like our timeline is flexible, and then it's like, okay, great, I can step back. I don't need to put the pressure on. Like, I don't need to be reaching out to them every week because they're kind of on their own timeline, more just looking. And then when it does become the time to put the pressure on, they'll let me know.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And you're in Rockwall. You're at the Rockwall Century 21 office. Do you go to a lot of different places, or do you try and? Because I know some agents that are like University Park, and they got maybe a 5-mile radius of their house, and they don't go outside of that.
Yeah. I'm pretty flexible, so I've done a lot of business in Collin County. Mm-hmm. I was in the top 10% last year for Collin County, but I live in North Rockwall, so I'm very close to Wiley, Lavon, Nevada. There's part of Royce City that's in...
Is it Nevada or Nevada?
Nevada.
But it's spelled the same way that Nevada, the state, is spelled.
I know, but I've been corrected by the locals, so I'm going to go with what they tell me.
If I ever meet someone from Nevada, Texas, I'm going to ask them why it's called Nevada, because it's spelled the same way the state is, and everyone in the U.S. says Nevada.
Right, yeah, and that's how I pronounced it at first, and I was corrected, and I was like, okay.
It's Nevada.
Yes. Maybe someone else will correct me and tell me something different, but...
They just came up with their own pronunciation of...
I think a lot of Texas cities have a unique pronunciation, though.
Yeah, they do. I've always found that just to be such an odd Nevada.
Yeah, it's how they pick up on the outsiders.
Okay, maybe that's what it is. Like you don't belong here in Nevada.
It's a litmus test.
Yeah. So you're going all over. I mean, Collin County it's a great market to be in.
Yeah, so like McKinney, I've done some in McKinney. I've been out to Anna, Melissa.
Collin County is very popular among, because the school districts are good, the tax base is good.
Yeah.
It's a very desirable area to be in.
Yeah, I think if I didn't live in Rockwall, I love Rockwall. I don't have any plans on moving, but that would be kind of like
next on the list.
Next on the list, yeah.
A lot of people like it. So if you can corner that market, because people are all the transplants always want to move to Collin County.
Right, it's because they haven't been to Rockwall.
Introduce them there.
Yeah.
What are the goals for the future? Because you came out strong, obviously, so you should really only be going up. But
yeah, so I'm happy with where my business is now. I definitely want to expand my client base, and even geographically. I will say my favorite deals are like stuff with land, so ranches, horse properties, and that kind of stuff. So I guess ideally I would love to do more of those, or even buyer clients who are purchasing land, just because I like walking the properties. I like going out there. I like exploring.
Do you change your attire for that?
Yeah. I remember one time I was a little underprepared one time. I wore shorts because I didn't realize. It was like 90-something degrees outside, and we were going to look at, it was like 10 acres, and the buyers wanted to walk around the whole property, and I didn't realize it was like all brush and overgrown. Yeah, but I made it work. I got through it. Only a couple scratches, but I'm glad I was wearing shorts because I was sweating. Like, it was hot.
Do you try to appeal to the client that you're working with by just, I don't want to say like shape shifting, because that's, you don't want to be dishonest, but like are you going to show up in a more jeans and a button down type of environment for that versus if you're selling in a nice part of Collin County?
Right. I think you'll get a feel for your client and what makes them comfortable and what puts them at ease. I mean, there's, the right outfit for the right occasion in anything you do in life, So if I'm looking at land, yeah, there's definitely different attire you're going to wear versus, a house in McKinney or Dallas. I think I tend to stay kind of middle of the road, business casual. Like,
Yeah.
I try to dress nice, but not too flashy.
I know a lot of agents that love their watches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have my Apple Watch.
Yeah.
So I can get my text messages right away.
That's why I got rid of mine.
Yeah. Oh no, I need quick response time. That's one of my selling points.
Okay.
Oh, I got a text message. I got to take this right now.
No, that's why I got rid of mine, because it was boom, boom, boom all day long.
Yeah.
I like being able to put it away.
For
Do
me,
you think you'll kind of pass that off to maybe a transaction coordinator or someone that can take a load off you in the future? Or are you too...
I like having my hands in
Yeah.
everything. I like knowing what's going on throughout the transaction and where everything is at and being able to communicate with my clients. So I would say most likely not.
Well, with success comes a little bit more freedom. Like you can travel more, you can do more fun things, right? So what do you do when you're traveling? Are you still...
Oh, it's stressful. I take my laptop I've spent some time in hotel rooms while I was on vacation, trying to negotiate a deal or write a contract. So I've definitely experienced that, and my family's experienced that. Luckily, they're understanding, so it makes it easier.
Well, someone's got to pay for the trip, right? Got to make it work somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of agents kind of get to that point where they, like one of the guys in your office has built a decent team, and I know that he passes off some of that more. Do you have any aspirations to build a team of yourself?
No, I think for work-life balance and family balance, that's not my goal. For some people, that's a great goal, and they are very successful at that. But me personally, I like the time spent with my clients. I like the relationship building, and I like to be in it with them,
Yeah.
So for me, it loses some of the personal touch, not being one-on-one and kind of being involved.
That's something I'm kind of struggling with in my own business, because we're growing, we're expanding, we just finished a merger, and that means the team almost doubled in size overnight. And there are so many agents that just know me, Lewis, as Element Inspection. But as it grows, I take on more managerial roles and less and less in the field.
Yeah.
But I still get texts and phone calls every day from agents like, hey, can you book an inspection? I'm like, I'd love to, but unfortunately, I don't even have access to the scheduling system anymore. I don't even know how to schedule an inspection anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's been an interesting progression of slowly letting go of some of those things that I just built the company on.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's just has to do more with goals and aspirations. For some people, that is a goal and aspiration. For me, I like the personal relationships with the clients. Like, I'm not looking to have, 10 clients that I'm juggling simultaneously. I like it to be manageable so that
at a time. Yeah.
Exactly, so that I can be there. I've only had to do a handful of times where I couldn't make a showing, where I had to have another agent at the office fill in or that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So.
And then you're balancing that with kids as well. How does that work? Is that challenging?
It's actually not that bad because I'm married. I have my husband, and then my son. He's older. He's 12, so
Okay.
he's pretty independent. Yeah,
That's nice.
I
Yeah.
would say if I had little kids, it would be a whole nother story.
Much more
So.
challenging. I do meet agents where you got to give them credit, like super mom, just
Right.
doing the agent thing, doing kids. It's incredible what some people are capable of doing.
Yeah,
it
and
just-
I look at some of those agents, and I don't know how they do it.
I hear their schedule, I'm like, nope, absolutely not. I couldn't do it. But-
Yeah, I don't think I would have been as successful as I have been had I had little kids in the home. Because,
Why did you decide to go into real estate?
well, so my husband's in the mortgage industry, so I've always been around and exposed to it. We've had a lot of friends and connections who are in real estate, so it was kind of always on the back of my mind as something I wanted to do, but I never had the push to take the leap until the pandemic. So I lost my job during the pandemic.
What were you doing before?
I was working for the state of Washington doing legal and administrative tasks.
From DFW? Or
No,
were you out there?
in Washington.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then you moved here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Was it family here that brought you?
To be honest, it was like a mass exodus from Washington. A lot of people from my church down there had moved to Rockwall and the surrounding area, and that's kind of how I first heard about it. We had come down to visit and just fell in love with it, fell in love with the city and the area. And then we were in looking for a place to move to. Rockwall was just it.
Yeah.
We fell in love with it.
I love Rockwall. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love going out there,
Mm-hmm.
especially for the every year y'all have that party, the Olympics party.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, your office. I love going to your office. There's some offices around the area that I go to that I see it on my screen. I'm like, oh man. But when I see Rockwall, I'm always excited.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great camaraderie, a good office.
We do. We have a good office. Everyone's supportive, and like going back to like who you work with matters. I feel like had I started at any other brokerage or any other office, I don't think I would have been successful. I think that was a huge key to my success.
Yeah.
Because, I remember coming in as a brand new agent and other agents being helpful, giving advice, like treating me as an equal. And so I kind of do the same for other agents, like paying it forward, so to speak. So
Right.
It's like if someone has questions and I'm there, I'm happy to help, even though technically we're all self-employed, we're all kind of in a way, competing against each other. I don't look at it that way. Maybe some agents do. But I definitely feel like we're a
you
team.
learn a lot. I'm part of it's a large, call it a coaching group. It's just a group of home inspection owners, but there's like 300 of us in this one group.
Mm-hmm.
And to be part of the group, it's kind of a ethical thing that you do share, not necessarily super trade secrets, but how you've created the business, what you're doing. And then we all collectively have these masterminds, like how can we shift the industry, or how can we do things together and build together. And I know it's the same in real estate, because the ones that compete a lot, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because you get like catty in the office and people get upset with each other.
Yeah, and I think the key or the difference is having you might have heard of this, like the abundance mindset, right? There's no way I can capture all the business in DFW. Like,
There's 8 million people here.
Right, and especially if I want to have personal relationships with all my clients and I want to meet all their needs, like we need other agents. I need, you know what I mean? So having that abundance mindset of there's enough business for everyone, I think it brings you more business. You're set up to have a more positive kind of outlook on your other agents at your office. So you're not competing with them. Like, I don't feel like I'm competing with them.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's enough to go around, because you hear, and I've noticed in a lot of the offices too, they'll be like, I have too much going on, can you please take this client? Like, you can trust one of your colleagues to take a client that you know they're going to take care of them.
Yeah.
And then you get a finder's fee, of course, for bringing them, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's a really great, it's just a good environment to be in. So
Yeah.
obviously you like the job.
I do. I love it. All the different parts of it. I like looking at houses. I like, going to different neighborhoods, and it's kind of like you live vicariously through other people and their purchase, because if I can't buy a house every 6 months, like I would love to be able to just go house shopping all the time, but house shopping with other people and seeing what they like and meeting their needs and watching like them go through the process, it's really fulfilling. So
You've used us a lot in the past. What do you do when a client says, I don't want an inspection? Just straight up. Because every once in a while they say it.
Yeah, I strongly encourage the inspection, unless it's someone who plans on tearing something down or gutting a house, like,
It wouldn't be necessary.
yeah, like maybe I would probably still recommend it just because there might be stuff, like termites or something that might be a lot more than they can actually handle. But I think I've only had one client not want to do an inspection, and it was on a new construction, and they felt, I know.
Worst idea.
Right. Most of my clients, even on new construction, they get inspections, but I think I've only had one so far that completely bypassed
The new construction, it bothers me so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we find
Yeah.
so many things wrong on new construction homes.
Oh, yeah. Even my own house, I purchased new construction in 2022. And the day we moved in, we were showering, doing laundry. I mean, because you have all this stuff backed up from the moving process, so we're doing catch up. And our drains backed up in all the bathrooms. And the builder had dumped plaster or grout down the drains and tried to wash it out. And of course, when it dried, it hardened in the drains. So move-in day, we got a nice little treat of water backing up into the house.
I think that is probably one of the most common, like, big problems.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they're all riddled with the small problems,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very strange to try and convince someone, I need to do a sewer camera inspection on your brand new sewer system. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Because
Yeah.
we always, when I do my little sales pitch, I talk about tree roots growing through cast iron,
Mm-hmm.
or PVC, maybe the first generation of PVC starts to scale and it'll chip and collapse, or the pipes are not aligned. But trying to convince someone that a brand new house needs a sewer camera inspection,
Mm-hmm.
and then saying, oh, by the way, that's going to be an extra $200, like, nope, not doing it.
Yeah.
And I would say one in 15 or so that we do,
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you're talking about. It's always some sort of masonry in there.
Yeah.
So we're pushing the camera through, and it goes right up to some big gray clump of either grout or thin set or concrete that they are always dumping down the drain
Right.
to clean something. And why would you do it in a shower drain?
Yeah.
I can't come, but they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then the house floods.
Yeah.
And so we try to push that, but
And then the builder will try to pass it off. Luckily, the builder covered ours because we had it in email because the inspector said it was bubbling up, and the inspector thought there was an obstruction. The builder said, no, this is normal. It's just air bubbles in the pipe because they haven't been used. Well, we had all of this in email of the builder saying this was all normal. So then when it flooded after move-in day, then they took
did y'all have to move
responsibility.
out then?
No, luckily it was contained to like the bathrooms. Yeah, so we didn't have to move out. It was just back up into the shower pan. So we caught it, like, fortunately we shut everything off. But yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Did they have to dig up the ground to get to it, or were they able to bust it up with a roto-rooter?
Yeah, the city came out and opened up the cleanouts from the city side, and then a plumber had to come and do from the residential side, the homeowner side, clean out from that side. So, yeah.
I don't get it.
Right.
It's so common.
And the city of Rockwall was great. They came out same day, I will say.
The builder not so much.
Yeah, they were like dragging their feet, but once we'd sent them the emails and showed them all this stuff, like, hey, you guys acknowledged, like, we brought this up, you said it was normal. So.
We push for that on all the inspections.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, obviously, yeah, we're making money, we're making profit on it because we're doing more. But truly, that's one of those things that I just say, I really, really highly recommend you do it. And I'll even discount it when I know that's like, I know we're going to find someone. Just let me put the camera down there. Because
Yeah.
I'm going to save you money in the long run, I promise.
Well, and I will say I am guilty of bypassing the sewer scope because we did not do the sewer scope because it was a new construction, new pipes, whatever. So we did the typical inspection, and he noted the bubbling up in the drains when you ran the sink and the toilet or whatever. But of course, you can't run it long enough during a 1 hour or whatever the inspection was to get the full effect.
Yeah, we don't run a washing machine and the dishwasher and a shower all at once. It's just,
or 2 showers.
Right.
Because we had just spent a week moving, driving What?
Every once in a while, builders don't want us to turn any water on. Like,
Yeah.
you can't operate the sinks or anything. Well, we're not going to do the inspection then, because that's
Yeah.
like 20 or 30% of the inspection is checking the plumbing.
Right, and water damage is the worst.
It is. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, the worst one that we ever had, we highly recommended the sewer camera because we just had all the symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
They said no. They moved in, and just like we're talking about, the entire house flooded.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And they called us like, why didn't you catch it? And luckily we were like, we tried to put a camera down there. You declined that, and we did notate here the slow drain, and we believe there's a blockage, which is why we wanted to put the camera in it.
Yeah.
They said, nope, I'm not paying you. So, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then the house flooded.
Right.
So.
Lesson learned. Expensive lesson to learn. Unless the builder steps up, and then it's just a pain in the butt.
Yeah, builders don't want to fix the stuff.
Yeah.
They have to, but they don't want
I
to.
did have another client who they purchased their house prior. I helped them sell this house, and they were telling me a story of when they purchased their house a couple years before. Theirs didn't end up flooding. It took several weeks of like toilet paper building up on the obstruction. It was some sort of grout that was in there, so it didn't actually flood for 2 weeks after, and the builder didn't take any responsibility, and they had to.
Homeowners insurance.
Yeah, they had to do it all themselves, but they had somebody go in, and there was like grout or something along those lines in the drain.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Those big, small obstructions, kind of like a clotted artery, will just keep collecting material until it's completely blocked off. Then the house backs up.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a lot of talk about pipes, and
Yeah.
sewage.
You can edit that part out.
No. What do you think you'll be doing in a year, 2 years, 5 years?
Hopefully the same thing, to be honest. I'm actually really content with my business and where it's at. Just, having hopefully more clients and repeat clients, long-term clients.
I love repeat.
Yeah, me too.
You know what you're gonna get. And it's better for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you love the brokerage, so.
Yeah, I will still be with Century 21.
Do you have any goals for the Century 21 awards? Because there are some, they strategically go up with.
Yeah, ideally I would be Centurion, which is, or double Centurion, but.
Yeah, there's a few double Centurions in the Judge Fite network.
Yeah, but only time will tell. We'll see. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'll ask you one last question. For those, because you came in strong from the very beginning. So for those agents that are kind of flopping around and struggling, do you have anything that you would tell them?
Yeah, I would say give it 6 months, sow the seeds. You might have clients who are just kind of getting their feet under them. They're just kind of starting to look out. So it does take time to be prepared to buy a house. So you might meet with the lender, and the lender's going to say you need to do XYZ before we can issue a pre-approval. Sometimes that does take a few months. Not everyone in your network or your sphere is going to be ready to buy a house on day one that you become an agent. But 6 months down the road, a year down the road, 2 years down the road, they might be. So just give it time and work on building your network.
Stick with it. Yeah, the network is the biggest part, letting everyone know.
Yeah. Yeah, don't be a secret agent.
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on. I enjoyed the chat.
Yes, thank you.
And then we'll check back when you get Centurion.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you.